Hey everyone, it's Cradiac. Thanks for stopping by the channel today. This is going to be the final video in my work log series for my GameCube Portable. This is the finished product. I'm finally done with it. I've been working on this for about the last 7 months or so. Put many hours into it and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and finally finished with it. So this video is just going to be about some of the features and everything, and a little bit about the journey along the way. So without further ado, I give you the GameCube Spite. The reason I'm calling it that is because, in spite of newer systems and all of the haters that said don't make a GameCube portable, I made one anyway, and I'm pretty happy with the result. So this is the GameCube Spite. It is a fully portable GameCube. So this isn't an emulator or anything like that. It's an actual GameCube system that I modified and managed to fit down in this housing. So it plays original GameCube games. The actual firmware of the system has not been modified whatsoever. It's complete, stock software. It's not been modified to play backup discs or anything like that. Just regular GameCube games, and it is a US-based system. I can't remember the revision of the GameCube board that I used, but I'll have all those details in the description down below. So if you want to find out exactly what revision board I used and everything like that, you can find all those details out. I'll also include some of the details on the parts that I use and stuff like that. So this is in a ZN housing. This is just an enclosure case. It was originally just, all enclosed. I had to cut out all the holes and everything like that. If you've been following my work log series, you'll see that it's been quite a journey of getting the case and everything all built around it and stuff, getting the controller in there and everything like that. So this is all handmade, no 3D printing or anything like that aside from the actual case itself. But I had to mold in the cases and epoxy and sand and paint and everything like that to make it look the way that it is now. So this is all done by hand. The electronics and the insides and everything all done by hand as well. I'll probably put some pictures in here, just some different photos so you can kind of see what the inside looks like. So I've got the GameCube in here, and this does have, there are some versions of the GameCube Portable that used a hack or a mod chip that allowed you to play games off of a USB drive or off of an SD card. Those really aren't available anymore, not unless you want to pay an arm and a leg for them. So I actually built the disk drive into it. I was pretty pleased the way that it turned out. So the downside is that you do have to have that extra bulk, and you do have to have the actual physical game disc. But assuming you're not pirating the games, that's not a problem anyway, right? Wink, wink. So it has a couple of fans in here. This one right here is the exhaust fan. This is the original fan that came with the GameCube. In the side here, there's a smaller fan. It's actually this one, excuse me. This one right here, which is the fan for the Nintendo Wii, and I put that in here as an intake fan just to give it a little bit of extra cooling. And I've got a speaker right here and a speaker right here, just some laptop speakers. They're pretty loud. They sound pretty good. I've got an original GameCube controller in here. I don't have the D-pad in here. In retrospect, I kind of wish that I had put it in, but my original thinking was there's not a lot of games that used it, and it would have just taken up extra space. So I elected not to use to have the D-pad. So it doesn't have the D-pad, but it does have all the other stuff. It's got the the buttons here, the C-stick, the regular joystick, and then for the trigger buttons, instead of using the trigger buttons that normally come in the GameCube, like I did for these buttons. I don't know if you can tell, but with the contour of these buttons, these are actually sections of the GameCube controller that I cut out and then molded into this case. But for the trigger buttons, I actually used some buttons from a different controller that I had. So this is the Z button, R, L, and then this is the start button back here. So those are the trigger buttons, and as far as the volume buttons, those are right here on the side. So this is up and this is down. The screen has controls as well. There's 3 buttons on the bottom here that control the screen. I've got I think a 3.5-inch screen right here. And I've got 2 power indicators. So that the blue light here is just to indicate that the battery pack is on, which this is fully portable, so it has a battery pack in here. This is to indicate that the battery pack is on, and this other one is to indicate the actual GameCube system is on. There's 2 separate switches to control the power. And on the back, so this is the main power switch for the battery, and this does light up as well whenever you turn on the battery pack. This little window right here is kind of like a little battery preview window. So the battery board is inside here that indicates the level of the battery. There's 5 LEDs that indicate how charged the battery is, and this little piece of acrylic here just allows you to see in to view the battery level. So because the GameCube runs off of 12 volts and I used a 12 volt battery pack, it doesn't allow it to power the GameCube all the way down to 0. So what that basically means is normally, like, you know, on your cell phone or something like that, you know, your battery, your phone will stay on whether it's at 1% or whether it's at 100%. With this one, because of the voltage, once the battery level drops a certain amount, even though it's not at 0%, it won't have enough juice to turn the GameCube, to keep the GameCube powered on, so it'll turn off. So the battery, anywhere between about 20 to 40% battery is where you're probably going to have the GameCube shut off. So once you're at 2 to 3 lights out of 5 on here is whenever you probably want to go ahead and plug it up. On that note, as far as charging the battery, there's a charger right here that charges the battery, and the battery, it lasts about 45 minutes, which isn't a whole long, you know, real long time. But like I said, this is kind of a power hog, but it's going to be enough if you are on a short trip somewhere, or if you're on your lunch break or something like that. And then it takes about 6 hours for the battery to charge to 100% if it's drained. So I wanted you to be able to have more than just 45 minutes of gameplay per 6 hours. So what I did is I also added a second power adapter right here. This input jack goes to the original GameCube power block, this guy right here. So you can plug that up and play with it connected to the wall charger as well. So the battery charger for the actual battery, it doesn't supply enough power to be able to power the GameCube and charge at the same time. So this is the backup for that. If you're going to be playing it for a little bit longer than 45 minutes, if the battery needs to be charged or whatever, you can use this alternatively. The way that it has to be powered for that, the battery will only charge if it's turned on, which is kind of peculiar, but that's just the way that it's designed. So whenever it is charging, you can't play it basically, because even if you're using this one right here, this will not work if it's turned on, because then it'll be connected to the battery and it'll just cause power issues. So basically, if you want to charge the battery, you need to not play it. And then in order for this to work, the power switch actually has to be turned off, because again, otherwise it would connect this port to the battery at the same time, and then you'd probably end up blowing it up or something. So it just wouldn't be good. So your options for playing are either with this turned on, and you can see those lights come on, and that would allow you to use the battery, or alternatively you can have it turned off and then you can have it plugged in here and play it connected to the regular GameCube power supply. So this other switch right here, this is to simulate the disk drive cover opening and closing. So obviously the original GameCube has a disk drive cover. It has a little lid, and if you're playing a game like Resident Evil 4 that the lid opens and needs to open and close to switch discs out in the middle of gameplay, with this, since there is no physical disk drive, this right here is just emulates the cover opening. So right now it's in the closed position, and if you were playing a game and had to open the disk drive, you would just flip that up, and then that tells it that the disk drive cover is open, and then you would just close it again. On the top here, this is the power button that turns on the actual GameCube. So again, that will only work if it's either connected to this or if this switch is on. And once you turn it on, again, you saw the lights here, and that also starts up the fan going as well. And then, so as you can see, the blue light there, that shows that the battery pack's on, and then this turns on the GameCube. I know I've seen a lot of people comment with designs like this where the disk drive, where the disc is open on the back, you know, saying, "Oh, you're going to cut your hand open and everything." The disc does not spin fast enough to do any kind of damage to your hand, so there's no safety concern there. So I've just got Dragon Ball Z2 Budokai in here. I'll just show a little bit of gameplay on that real quick. And so this is the volume, so you can see, volume works. For the memory card, there's no memory card port. The memory card is actually permanently fixed to the motherboard on the inside of here. So you don't have to worry about carrying around a memory card or anything. It's embedded. And I'll just do a little bit of quick gameplay real quick. Training. And then this LED you can see is lit up now because the GameCube is powered on, so. So, as you can see, everything's working fine. Let's see. Yep, there's the Z button. And then, so all the buttons are working great. Everything's functioning. So, like I said, the only limitation you've got is it doesn't have that D-pad on there, but everything else is working on it just fine. So, I've had a lot of fun making this, and I will be selling this. So, depending on when you view this video, it may or may not have already sold, but if you are interested, you can certainly send me a message. I'll have some business inquiry information down in the description. Big shout out to a couple of people on here that were, or a couple resources that were really helpful to me. One, the entirety of BitBuilt.net, the forums on there, just all the people are incredible. They were very, very helpful. I had tons and tons of questions, and they were all very patient and very helpful. So check them out if you have any interest in portabilizing, or if you're just interested in the process of making something like this. Go check them out. They are it's a wonderful resource, and they have everything from making custom Raspberry Pi computers to portables and just modded accessories and all kinds of different things. So a special shout out in particular to one person, which is Madmorda. She built a portable GameCube as well. A lot of the stuff that I did on mine, I modeled after her. Some of the parts that I got because she used it in her project, and she spent hours on the phone with me, helping me out with different troubleshooting and stuff like that, and being patient with my thick-headedness whenever I was having a hard time comprehending what she was trying to say. And just overall, she was very, very, very helpful. So I just want to give a quick shout out to her. Check her channel out. I'll give a shout out to her channel in my in the link in the description as well. So anyways, here it is, the GameCube Spite. So thanks for checking out the video. If you have any questions or concerns, or just any comments or whatever, just leave them in the comment section below. Love to hear your thoughts on it. So other than that, that is all I've got. Talk to you later. Bye.